Hello and welcome to Vitality, Women Leading Audaciously. Today, our guest is Venus Morris Griffin. I'm so excited to have her here. She's from one of my favorite states, Georgia. There's just something about that Southern charm that I just love. And it's steeped with peaches, of course, and sunshine, and also a really rich story. When I found out about Venus and her story, it just struck me as completely inspirational. So, Venus, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here.
Okay, so I am 49 years old. I'll be 50 in March. I have 7 children, ranging in age from 6 to 26. I sell real estate. I'm a top producer, 60 plus million a year. And I've only been in the workforce for the past little over 10 years. I was a stay-at-home mom of 6 children when my husband was sentenced to 45 years in prison. And I was in a 2-bedroom house and had no income. I was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and had no idea how I was going to even meet their basic emotional and financial needs. So I just got my real estate license, and I tell people I didn't have a plan B because, my only plan B was plan A, which was to put my big girl pants on and try to figure something out quick. So I just got to work when my husband went away, and pulled my children close to me, and we we're a really tight, close-knit family, and figured it out together. My oldest son was 15 at the time, and he took over the role of being the father in the family, and helped me go to work full time so I could have someone to care for my 1-year-old and 3-year-old. Yeah, and so now I share my story all over the country because I say I'm proof that with God and hard work and determination, that you can not only get through anything, you can achieve anything that you want to. So.
What a powerful, powerful story. And you say it like, oh yeah, I did that, but it's like, oh my gosh, how many of us just have 1 or 2 children and find ourselves in exactly the same position, not sure where to go, feeling
Right.
overwhelmed and hopeless and losing their job. I mean, there's just so much uncertainty at this time. And the fact that you did it and that you're wildly successful with it is just extraordinary. And
Yes.
what a heroic task your son took over. Wow.
Yes, he's amazing. He's actually graduating dental school in May, and president of his class, and he's still over at my house almost every night helping his 12-year-old brother study for tests and homework. Just once you take over that role of being a parent, you just don't let it go. So he's never relinquished his responsibility in helping me with his younger siblings. So it's a blessing.
That's so beautiful. Well, and it's because you raised him that way too, I imagine.
Yes, I really can't take too much credit, but he's a great boy. So
just your genes and
well,
your attitude, and all those nights you put him to bed.
Well, yeah. So I was a stay-at-home mom, 15 years, and I tell people now I get lots of awards. I make 7-figure income, and nothing even compares to what it takes to raise children and to be a mom. And what I do now is actually cakewalk. Compared to what I did, being a mom of all these. I had 4 kids, 5 and under at one time, and I literally thought I was going to go crazy. But what I learned early on, and I tell my children, my daughter has twins now, and I tell them the first thing you've got to do to be a good mom and to be good in the workforce and successful is you've got to take care of yourself. And so much like the analogy of putting the oxygen mask on yourself in the airplane, you've got to put that oxygen mask on yourself and start with self-care. Because if you don't care for your mental and physical well-being, then you can't care for the people you love. And
Venus, you are speaking my language.
Yeah.
And most women end up not taking that time, and then they end up in burnout. They end up in divorce. They end up, having some kind of health issue.
Yes.
It's really predictable if we don't take the time. So now, with this wildly successful business that you run with your real estate business and having all your children, most of them at home, still, What is your carve out time? Like, how do you do your self-care time?
So I get up at 5 o'clock every morning and I go to the gym. And I work out for about an hour and a half, and that's my time. And I really, really had a hard time training myself to do that. But once you do it and you do it consistently, they say 21 days, it took me like 60. Your body craves it and it becomes a habit. And it's not as heroic or difficult as it sounds. It's like natural. You're in the gym, and it's funny because I look around at 5 o'clock, nobody's there except ultra successful people. Because
Yeah.
you've got to get up, you got to get your day going. And, that starts with prioritizing yourself. And I've got 7 kids, so I'm not going to get off at work at 5 o'clock and go to the gym for 2 hours, because then it feels selfish to me because they
It's dinner
need me
time.
also. Yeah,
Yeah.
they need
Yeah.
me. So I go from 5 o'clock, I go to bed at 10,
Mhm.
I get up at 5, and I'm at the gym until 6:30, get up, get back, get all my children up for school. I've still bathed my little one. And the first year when my husband was in prison, we actually went to mass every day, 6 days a week at 7 a.m.
Mm.
And then I would, start my work day. But
Mm.
once you start that routine of making your stuff, do it. And, you also in the workforce, I found you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. you
Mm-hmm.
know
Well
and
said.
and, and I'm not saying that you have to be a size 2 or 0 or 4, but you need to be in shape mentally and physically. And people respect you more, because if you can't take care of your personal life, how do you expect others to trust you with some of the largest financial transactions that they encounter?
Absolutely.
So
Good point.
so it starts here with yourself. And then, my kids are, I don't drink. So, my kids, I mean, I don't have any kids that have problems with alcohol. And, in college, they, of course, drank. But, they watch what you do. They watch me get up at 5 o'clock and work out. They watch me not drink. They watch me go to church every Sunday. And I don't want to do a lot of that. Sometimes I don't want to go to church, but I go because I know that I'm getting something from it while I'm there, even if I don't think I'm getting something. So for me, that's powerful. And I tell my kids, sometimes you don't realize the benefits that you're receiving by working out, by, having your spiritual time. But you're getting grace while you're going through the actions. So
I love that. You're getting grace while you're going through the actions. That's a beautiful, beautiful reminder. Because for me, my greatest source of freedom has come through the discipline. And what you're describing is a kind of discipline. And
yes.
you have to interrupt your patterns to get different results. And I have to say, all the people that I work with on the different marketing teams and things, the people who exercise are a completely different caliber than people who are
Mhm.
unfit. And it's really no different with your physical fitness and your mental fitness. I know, I know
No.
that might sound strange, but our bodies are meant to move, and there's definitely no supplement, there's no food, there's no device that's going to give you the results that a regular workout 5 to 6 days a week is going to
Mhm.
do, or even 7 days a week. Although my daughter forces me, she's like, Mom, you need to take a day off. But you're right, we have to model for our kids, and my goodness,
Yeah.
it's paying off. I mean, she definitely rebelled for many years, but now she's like, I'm turning into you, it's so annoying.
Well, they'll follow your example, good or bad. Usually, they'll come back to it.
Yeah, I also don't drink. I also go to church on Sunday. I also exercise some days at 5, some days at 6, and some days at 7, but it's definitely every day.
Yeah. And it doesn't
Definitely.
matter when you do it, whatever works for you. But me, I always thought I would just be a mom. I never planned on my husband going to prison. I never planned on getting back in the workforce. I planned on being a mom. And sometimes life throws you curveballs and you have to adjust. So now, I'm in the workforce full time, and, you just take care of business and do what you got to do. But it is discipline. My 24-year-old about 5 years ago comes to me and she says, Mom, I know I'm small, but I'll say a skinny, out of shape person, if that makes sense. And she says, I want to train you and I want to, help you get a 6-pack on your stomach. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, Julia, I'm like, I'll be I'm 45 years old, but whatever. So she says, well, I want you to get up and go to the gym with me at 5 a.m. and we're going to work out for an hour and a half every day. And in about 8 months, you should start to see a difference. I'm like, what? And so, of course, I didn't believe that in 8 months that I would see a difference, but I wanted to support my daughter. And so I was willing to do whatever I could to encourage her to be successful and achieve her goal of, fitness and helping other people with their fitness. So we went to the gym every morning together at 5 a.m. And, after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I'm not seeing any difference. 4 months, not seeing a difference. 5 months, I'm like, wow, I'm seeing a little definition here. 6 months, 7 months, by 8 months, I had like a six pack.
Wow.
And I tell people in real estate, I said, when you're in real estate, it's no different, or whatever job you do, you might not see the results 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months, but you just keep at it. And if you keep at it with the consistency, you're going to see a result. But you got to keep at it and not think because you're not seeing it the first 5, 6, 7 months that you're failing. Because what you're doing is you're conditioning your body to be even better. And so, at the end of that 8 months, I've tried to keep that, now my 12-year-old thinks it's really cool that his 50-year-old mom is in shape, but that discipline in life, it carries you everywhere.
Yeah, that's so beautiful that you had that partnership and that you guys could do that together. And it does carry you everywhere. But I think we all need to hear that message right now, because we want to throw the towel in when we're not seeing huge jumps in the scale or huge, definition. I think abdominals, especially after 7 children, are probably more challenging than someone who hasn't had children or, to tone. So that's extraordinary. And
I gained like 55 pounds with my children. I was not like this skinny pregnant woman. I ate, I did what I wanted to do. And I just happened to gain a lot of weight, and which you should, not worry about your weight when you're pregnant. I ate healthy, but my body said I guess needed more. So you can get back into shape. It doesn't matter how many, you can't use children as an excuse to be unfit. So.
I totally agree with that. And this is not the topic for our conversation today, but I just want to note that your pregnancies didn't necessarily come easily to you. Is that true?
No, I had a donor. So my first husband could not have children. So we had the same donor for all 6 children. Never met him. And at the time it wasn't cool. So you didn't tell people. In fact, my kids only learned that they came from a donor maybe, I guess when he went to prison 10 years ago. And but now they're comfortable with me sharing it. Technology is amazing, and you feel like it's right for you. There's more than one way to conceive. It doesn't have to be, a stereotypical husband-wife way. So.
And I think it goes into the discipline conversation. It's like, if you really want it, there are a lot of different ways to get it. And I think you're living proof of that, which is such a beautiful.
It took 8 inseminations to get pregnant with my first. 8 with my first, 4 inseminations with my second, my third, it was 2. And then I got pregnant the first time with the rest of them. So my body figured out, okay, this is what's happening. So, but I love it. I am Catholic. And it's not something the Catholic Church believes in or condones. And when it came out, I lost a lot of very close friendships because, but I feel like God gives us a mind and that we can use it. And I didn't feel like I was doing something wrong. We conceived out of love, and, I'm okay with it.
That's so, so beautiful.
Yeah.
When you're feeling tired though, like we all do, at the end of a long day or a long week, what is your go-to practice, so to say, to kind of get yourself rejuvenated, to give yourself the energy, restore yourself?
So I work a lot. So when I'm not, working out in the mornings, get my children off to school, I'm at work, and then I come home and I spend time with my children. I really don't go out a lot. I just hang out with my family. I like to go on bike rides with my 6-year-old. And, I was a runner for many, many years. But, my relaxation is just hanging out with my kids. I've made this amazing atmosphere at home. So, it's my son having his dental class friends over, or my 12-year-old my 14-year-old having her whole grade over for New Year's party. And it's just me. but it's so much fun. It's where I sit back because I had a very dysfunctional childhood, very traumatic childhood. I sit back and I look at these little precious lives, and there's really nothing I'd rather do than be with them. So
That's so beautiful. I think a lot of women don't give themselves permission
yeah,
to restore themselves. And every woman that I've interviewed, Venus, has been different. Like
yeah,
everything from what you're saying to reading to, everyone has a different thing. And I love that. It doesn't have to be a bath, in
yes.
isolation or,
I should take a bath every night.
I love taking baths. It's like one of my things. I love it. It's so good. With different salts and essential oils. And that's a big thing for me for restoration. But I hear what you're saying. I mean, yesterday I went on this beautiful long walk with my daughter and I just came back feeling so filled up.
Mhm.
I like you, I just marvel at how extraordinary of a person she's become. And it's just, there's nothing that satisfies me and restores me in the same way as that.
When you have seven, I've got a 26, 24, 22, 20, 14, 12, and a 6-year-old. Really, I'm going to visit my daughter in Savannah, who's in college, taking her out to lunch on a Saturday because it's only a 2-hour drive. Or I'm going to Statesboro, going to a party with my other daughter who's drinking. But she wants me to come hang out with her and throw darts.
Cool.
It's so much, fun. Or if it's my son, watching my son bring his, dental school friends over, his girlfriend, and just watching their joy and happiness and maturing into people, it's pretty incredible.
Mm. And what else is another thing that's incredible is that you've actually taken the time to write a book.
Yes.
Tell us about your book, because I'm really interested to hear why you wrote it and what you hope for it.
Yeah. So I wrote my book because I promised God that when I got through the darkness, that I would share my story to help other people, because it's a very hard story. It's oftentimes humiliating when I share certain things, but I think we all have a cross that we carry, and it's all relative. My story, my husband going to prison for 45 years and me having, 6 kids, 1 to 15 years old, is really tough, but it's all relative to the person who loses their job and just can't figure out what their next step in life. It feels the same. And I share my story to give people hope that, oh my God, this lady came from a childhood of being on the verge of homelessness and, living with friends to get by, and to work in 2 jobs to put herself through college, to having an abusive husband, to now who produces millions of dollars a year, who's paid her house off, her car off, her kids' education, and, mentally somewhat healthy. It gives people hope that if I can do this, that they can do what I've done, and probably more, because they don't have 7 kids. I mean, really, you can do anything that you set your mind to, and have joy, but you've got to have a decision to do that.
I love that.
And
Have
not
a
be a
decision
victim.
to do that. Not be a
Yeah,
victim.
not be a victim. When my
Yeah.
husband went to prison, the first thing that I did, I'll never forget, I came home and I set all 6 of them, and they were 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, 13, and 15. I set them in a circle. And I told them, I said, the first thing we're going to do as a family is this: we're going to forgive your dad. We are never, ever going to say anything bad about him. And I'm going to pick myself up, and I am going to take care of you. I don't know what that means, but I know what I've been through, and I am your mom, and we are going to get through this together. And we're going to be an example to not only us, but to the community of what grace can get you. And I had no idea. Again, I was in a 2-bedroom and didn't know how I was I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. But you work hard, and people see that you work hard, and success will follow you. So yeah.
So the book is about your journey. What is the title of the book, Venus?
It's unvalidated. It won't probably be out till this summer. So I've got this big thing going on in New York right now. As soon as that's complete, then we'll move it to the publicist and do that. So, but you can find me on social media, and they'll update you there.
Yeah. And what was the subline? So validated, and then there's a subline.
It's basically just learning to matter through trauma, finding your place. So,
And taking ownership. That was something that I
yeah.
really felt into when I was looking at the book, and yeah, feeling into it. And so we
And
get
it
to see.
doesn't matter what happens to you. That's what I try to tell people. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to be a victim of what's happened. I've met my father one time. My mother was an alcoholic in mental hospitals. It doesn't matter. You can be joyful, you can overcome as long as you can forgive people.
Yes, and
You can
take
overcome
ownership.
anything.
Take
Yeah.
ownership, and I think also bring our hearts to God,
Yeah.
and have that humility to
Yeah.
ask for help.
Yeah.
Because the older I get, the more I realize I'm not really in control.
Yeah.
I have my
No, we're
will,
definitely not.
I have my desire, I have my, my values, but at the end of the day, I have to really bring my heart and lay it down, and my
Yeah.
crosses, that I'm bearing. And I'm so excited about your book and all the women and people it's going to
Yeah,
inspire.
I think it'll be helpful. And life is still hard. I don't want to paint a picture like, oh my God, like it's perfect. It's still hard. There's peaks and valleys, but as long as there's more peaks, there's more valleys, and it's only a temporary state.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, like, Jesus died on a cross. Why do we think everything's supposed to be so easy? We think if it's not easy, we're doing something wrong, and that's just not the reality.
It's not.
It's the top of the mountain is lonely and cold. It's the journey to the top of the mountain where you develop your grit and your determination.
It's true. And we were looking at Matthew, I think it's chapter 10, where it says Jesus came not for the righteous, but
Yeah.
for sinners. And I thought that was really interesting. Because actually, we really do need to come and bring our hearts to him in their honesty. And that kind of honesty is also what creates our ability to see clearly where our work is.
Mm-hmm.
And to ask for grace and experience grace. Like, I mean, you experienced a lot of grace, but you also put your grit into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can find out more and kind of see what's happening for you day to day through your
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yes. Or any of my social media.
Okay. Which one do you like best? Facebook's, Instagram? What do you like
So
resonating
I
with?
don't do any of it. I have to be honest. I have someone who does my social media. I have a personal Facebook page that I do, but I am so clueless about the other that this amazing person in California does it for me. I mean, I have input. She says the Instagram is really the younger crowd. So my LinkedIn, she said, is really the best way. But I have a business Facebook page and a personal and Instagram. So
Nice. I
um,
bet you it's never a dull moment at your house or in your life,
it's
really. I
never
mean,
done.
I'm so grateful
Never.
you took the time to be here today to inspire our listeners. And
Yeah.
on that note, is there anything any words of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I would say
Hey, thanks for signing back in.
what happened? My computer just cut off.
It just froze. It was so interesting
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, maybe she's just taking a moment to feel into the
Right.
question. It was so cute.
No, let's
No
see. Okay, do I hit
worries.
launch meeting again? Okay.
No, you're good. You're good. I can see you. I can hear you. Any last words of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with? Ta-da! I can't hear you now. Is the sound on? Oh, do you want me to? Is that your assistant who's in the waiting room? 1 second. Oh, I can't hear you. Let me see. Oh yeah, your sound is off. Let me see if I can help with that. 1 second. Doo-doo-doo. Give me a moment here. There we go. Hi, Caroline. Welcome.
Coming.
Hey.
Sorry, we had to get a. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you really well.
Okay, hold on. I can't hear her now. Caroline, how do I do that? I'm illiterate.
Oh, it's okay.
So my computer, something malfunctioned, I think. So I had to get her computer.
Oh, well, that was really quick thinking. Well done. Nice. Hey, I can hear you really well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I just wanted to see if there are any last words of wisdom that you would like to leave our listeners with.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. I would tell women to be kind to themselves. Treat yourself with kindness and love, and extend the same grace to yourself that you extend to other people. And guard your mind and your thoughts and how you think of other people, because the way you think of other people will be how you think of yourself. So I find when I make myself not be judgmental of others, no matter what they're doing, to extend forgiveness, then I'm kinder to myself when I mess up, so be kind to yourself and give yourself respect and grace.
Such great words of advice. And honestly, really needed to hear that today because I'm really hard on myself. So I really appreciate that.
Women do that a lot. And I'm the same, but I tell myself all the time, it's like, you're doing a good job. You just keep focusing one foot in front of the other and do the best you can do. And you can't do any better. So,
Thank you so much for taking your precious, precious time to be with us today. And
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sending blessings.